Northumberland County is actively searching for thousands of mink that were released yesterday morning.
Animal rights activists are often driven by noble intentions, seeking to save animals from harm and promote their welfare. However, in their zeal to release captive animals into the wild, they sometimes forget one crucial detail. Nature isn't a Disney movie. Releasing animals without considering ecological consequences can lead to unintended chaos. Invasive species, those unexpected party crashers of the animal kingdom, can wreak havoc on ecosystems, outcompete native flora and fauna, and even drive some species to extinction. They think they are always right, but in a highly misguided effort to save animals from captivity, a group of animal rights activists released dozens of boa constrictors into the wilds of Florida. The activists were motivated by the belief that these creatures deserved freedom, but their actions have had devastating consequences. These non-native snakes have few natural predators in the region and have thrived in the warm, humid climate. They have begun preying on native wildlife, causing significant declines in populations of birds, mammals, and other reptiles. They are highly effective hunters, and their presence is putting enormous pressure on already vulnerable populations. The activists who released the boa constrictors likely had noble intentions, but their actions have led to unforeseen and severe consequences. Residents are now more cautious when venturing outdoors, particularly in areas infested with these snakes. This is the European starling, a beautiful, majestic bird with purplish-green iridescent feathers and a yellow beak. In the winter, they are brown and covered with brilliant white spots. They can mimic the calls of up to 20 other bird species and gather into immense flocks, known as murmurations in the fall and winter. However, this bird is far from just another pretty, innocent creature to admire. The starling is one of the most destructive birds in America. Introduced in the 1800s by a group of Shakespeare enthusiasts, they wanted to bring every bird mentioned in Shakespeare's plays to America. This task fell to Eugene Schieffelin, a member of the American Acclimatization Society. In 1890, he released about 100 starlings in Central Park. Today, these 100 birds have multiplied into over 200 million. The starling has since become one of the worst invasive species in the United States, causing an estimated $800 million worth of agricultural damage each year by eating cattle feed and destroying fruit and grain crops. These birds have been observed in flocks numbering in the thousands, sometimes even up to 1 million. A flock of this size, known as a murmuration, can cause significant problems, especially in urban environments. For instance, a flock of starlings near an airport can be disastrous. In 1960, Eastern Airlines Flight 375 crashed in Boston due to a bird strike, resulting in 62 deaths. In 1996, a Belgian Air Force Hercules struck a flock of starlings and crashed, killing 34 passengers. Just one bird in a jet engine can cause massive problems, let alone a whole flock. Beyond aviation risks, starlings inflict severe ecological damage. They are cavity nesters, competing with native birds like bluebirds and sapsuckers for nesting sites. This competition has led to significant population declines in these native species. The European starling problem is so severe that the USDA started poisoning them. In 2009, thousands of dead birds were found in Griggstown, New Jersey, after a poisoning operation. Controversial methods, like spraying chemicals to strip the bird's feather oils, have also been used. So, what do you think? Is the starling a noxious pest, or just another pretty bird? Should we continue our efforts to control this species, or accept their presence? Without Eugene Schieffelin's obsession with Shakespeare, we wouldn't be asking these questions. Snakehead fish were imported into North America for the aquarium trade. Their distinctive appearance and aggressive nature made them popular among fish enthusiasts. However, when these fish outgrew their tanks or became too aggressive, some owners released them into local water bodies, not realizing the ecological consequences. This fish native to Africa and Asia has become a significant concern in North America. The first snakehead was caught in a small pond in Maryland in 2002, sparking widespread alarm. These fish are voracious predators, consuming a wide variety of prey, including fish, reptiles, and insects. They lack natural predators in many areas where they have been introduced, allowing their populations to grow rapidly. One female snakehead can lay up to 150,000 eggs in just 2 years. Both parents aggressively protect their offspring, increasing their survival rates. This rapid reproduction, combined with their aggressive feeding habits, has made it difficult for local species to compete. Snakeheads have significantly impacted local ecosystems, outcompeting native fish for food and habitat and disrupting the balance of aquatic communities. Snakeheads are known for their resilience and adaptability. They can survive out of water for several days by breathing air, allowing them to move between water bodies. This ability has contributed to their spread across various regions. Efforts to control snakehead populations include public awareness campaigns, fishing tournaments targeting snakeheads, and regulatory measures to prevent their transport and release. However, eradicating these invasive fish is challenging, and their presence continues to pose a threat to local ecosystems. In 2010, around 50,000 American minks were intentionally released from fur farms in Greece by animal rights activists who believed they were doing the minks a favor. What could go wrong, right? Well, let's just say the minks didn't exactly form a grateful support group and live harmoniously in the wild. While many were quickly recaptured or found dead,
he ended up walking into the front and the front closed and we had the mink.
About 15,000 managed to adapt. These furry Houdinis spread across regions with endangered birds and other wildlife, introducing new predatory pressures that native species were not prepared for. Imagine an all-you-can-eat buffet, but with endangered birds as the main course. The mink's insatiable appetite has led to sharp declines in endangered species populations and caused significant disruptions to local biodiversity. Local authorities and wildlife management organizations have scrambled to address the mink crisis. Efforts include setting traps, employing professional hunters, and initiating public awareness campaigns to manage the invasive population. However, the sheer number of minks released poses a challenging task. The sudden introduction of such a large number of minks into the wild has led to considerable ecological imbalance. Minks are voracious predators, and their unexpected presence has severely affected local wildlife populations. These released minks have been preying on everything from chickens to fish to birds and anything else they can lay their hands on, leading to a steep decline in these species. Another classic tale of unintended consequences involves goats on Middle Percy Island in Australia. Back in 1874, a commander left 12 goats on the island as a future food source for stranded sailors. Fast forward to today, and there are now nearly 6 million feral goats across Australia. These goats, likely inspired by some fertility cult, pose a severe threat to the environment. Competing with native species for resources, they have become the rock stars of habitat destruction, trampling critical habitats, causing erosion, and posing a threat to 128 endangered plant and animal species. Imagine trying to enjoy a quiet national park, only to find it overrun by goats that act like they own the place. In 1935, in an attempt to control the sugarcane beetle population, 102 cane toads were introduced to Queensland, Australia. The intention was to use these amphibians as a natural pest control method. However, this strategy backfired spectacularly as the toads failed to control the beetle population and instead proliferated across the continent. Cane toads have since wreaked havoc on Australia's ecosystems. These amphibians are highly toxic, with glands that secrete a potent toxin capable of killing predators that attempt to eat them. This toxicity has led to a significant decline in native species, particularly predators like snakes, lizards, and birds that fall victim to the toad's poison. Australian authorities have implemented various measures to manage the cane toad invasion. These efforts include public awareness campaigns, research into biological control methods, and community-led initiatives to capture and euthanize the toads. However, The sheer scale of the problem makes it a formidable challenge. The introduction of cane toads, though well-intentioned, has led to numerous unintended consequences. As Australia continues to combat this invasive threat, it becomes ever clearer that this is what happens when we try to interfere with the natural order of things. Nutria, also known as koi poo in their native South America, were brought to North America in the 20th century for their fur. Trappers and farmers saw them as a lucrative source of income due to their beautiful fur and quick breeding. However, once the market for their pelts became saturated, many nutria were released into the wild. The nutria thrived in their new environment, particularly in the wetlands and waterways of Oregon. Their rapid reproduction and voracious appetite for vegetation turned them from a potential economic boon into a significant ecological and agricultural threat. Nutria feed on a variety of crops, including lettuce and other leafy greens, causing substantial financial losses for farmers. They also destroy wetland habitats by consuming the roots of plants, leading to soil erosion and loss of habitat for native species. The displaced nutria, with their destructive feeding habits and ability to adapt to various environments, have become an invasive species, disrupting local ecosystems and agricultural lands. Efforts to control their population include trapping and hunting, but the nutria have proven to be a persistent and growing problem, with tens of thousands now inhabiting the Pacific Northwest. And yet again, we thought we could solve another problem, and during the 19th century, Kudzu vine from Asia was introduced to the United States. It was promoted by the Soil Conservation Service as a solution to soil erosion. Farmers were encouraged to plant kudzu to stabilize soil and prevent erosion, given its rapid growth and ability to cover large areas quickly. However, the very qualities that made kudzu attractive for erosion control, its fast growth and dense coverage, also led to its invasiveness. Kudzu spreads rapidly, covering trees, shrubs, and buildings, essentially smothering everything in its path. It can grow up to a foot a day, forming dense mats that block sunlight and kill other vegetation. Trees and plants unable to compete for light and resources die off, leading to a significant loss of biodiversity. Kudzu's aggressive growth can also damage structures by climbing up buildings, utility poles, and power lines, causing physical damage and increased maintenance costs. The lionfish, originally native to the Indo-Pacific, was introduced to the Atlantic Ocean, Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean Sea through aquarium releases in the 1980s. These releases were either deliberate or accidental, as aquarium owners, enchanted by the lionfish's beauty, did not anticipate the ecological havoc their actions would cause. In its new environment, the lionfish encountered no natural predators, allowing its population to explode unchecked. This rapid proliferation has led to devastating impacts on marine ecosystems. Lionfish are voracious predators, feeding on over 70 species of fish and invertebrates. They consume prey up to half their own body size, significantly reducing native fish populations. This predation disrupts the delicate balance of coral reefs, as many of the species lionfish prey upon are crucial for maintaining reef health. Herbivorous fish, for example, help control algae growth on reefs, and their decline due to lionfish predation can lead to overgrown algae that smother corals. Invasive species are non-native organisms introduced to new environments, often causing harm to ecosystems and human activities. These species can outcompete native plants and animals, leading to their extinction and reducing biodiversity. They alter habitats, which can disrupt ecosystems like coastal regions and the Great Lakes. The economic impact is significant, as these disruptions can affect fisheries, tourism, and other industries relying on natural resources. Take European rabbits. They have become invasive in Australia, primarily due to a combination of favorable environmental conditions, their prolific reproductive abilities, and the absence of natural predators. Introduced initially for hunting purposes, rabbits quickly adapted to the Australian landscape, which lacked the predators that kept their populations in check in their native habitats. This lack of predation allowed rabbits to thrive and multiply rapidly, leading to exponential population growth across the continent. One of the key factors contributing to their invasive success is their remarkable adaptability. European rabbits are highly versatile in their habitat preferences, able to thrive in a variety of environments ranging from fertile farmlands to arid coastal regions. This adaptability ensured that they could find suitable habitats and resources across vast areas of Australia, facilitating their widespread distribution. Furthermore, rabbits are known for their high reproductive rate. Females can produce several litters per year, each consisting of multiple offspring. This rapid reproduction, combined with their ability to reach sexual maturity quickly, allowed rabbit populations to increase exponentially within a short period. The abundance of food sources in Australia, including a diverse diet of grasses, crops, and native vegetation, further supported their population growth and spread. The common myna, originally from South Asia, including India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, has become a significant invasive species in many parts of the world. Its spread is primarily due to human activities, such as being brought to new regions for agricultural pest control, as pets, or accidentally through trade and travel. This highly adaptable bird quickly established itself in countries like Australia, New Zealand, the Middle East, and various Pacific islands. The common myna's invasive impact is profound. It aggressively competes with native bird species for food and nesting sites, often evicting them from their nests, leading to a decline in native bird populations. Mynas also prey on the eggs and chicks of other birds, reducing their reproductive success. Additionally, they cause significant damage to fruit and grain crops, resulting in economic losses for farmers. In urban areas, common mynas can become a nuisance due to their loud calls and large roosting numbers, creating noise and mess. The brown tree snake is native to northeastern Australia, Papua New Guinea, and the Solomon Islands. This species became invasive on the island of Guam after World War II, likely introduced accidentally via military cargo shipments. The brown tree snake has had a devastating impact on Guam's ecosystem. Its presence has led to the near extinction of several native bird and lizard species, as the snake preys on these animals. Guam once had 12 native bird species, but the brown tree snake's predation has reduced this number drastically, with many species becoming extinct. This loss of avian species has also disrupted Guam's seed dispersal mechanisms, affecting forest regeneration. Additionally, the brown tree snake has caused frequent power outages by climbing power lines and causing short circuits. The red deer is native to Europe and parts of Central Asia. It has been introduced to other regions, including New Zealand, Argentina, and Australia, where it has become invasive. In New Zealand, for instance, red deer were introduced in the mid-19th century for sport hunting. Their populations quickly expanded due to a lack of natural predators and abundant food resources. The invasive red deer have caused significant ecological damage in these regions. They compete with native herbivores for food, often leading to the decline of native species. Their grazing and browsing habits damage vegetation, leading to the degradation of forests and grasslands. This can result in soil erosion and negatively impact water quality in affected areas. In addition to ecological damage, red deer also impact agriculture by grazing on crops and damaging fences, leading to economic losses for farmers. The walking catfish is native to Southeast Asia. This species became invasive in the United States, particularly in Florida, in the 1960s, likely due to escape from aquaculture facilities or intentional release. The walking catfish has a remarkable ability to survive out of water for extended periods, using its pectoral fins to walk on land in search of new water bodies. This adaptability allows it to spread rapidly across wetlands, ponds, and drainage systems. Its invasive presence has had several damaging effects on local ecosystems. The walking catfish competes with native fish species for food and habitat, often leading to the decline of native populations. It is a voracious feeder, consuming a wide variety of prey, including smaller fish, crustaceans, and insect larvae, which can disrupt local food webs. Furthermore, walking catfish can significantly alter aquatic environments. Their burrowing behavior can increase water turbidity and damage aquatic vegetation, impacting water quality and habitat structure. In Florida, their spread has led to economic concerns for the aquaculture industry, as they can invade and damage fish farms. The Eurasian carp, also known as the common carp, is originally from Europe and Asia. People introduced this fish to many other places, like North America, Australia, and New Zealand, mainly for farming and fishing. However, it has become a major problem in these areas. Carp were often brought in to improve fishing spots, but they also escaped from fish farms and ponds, spreading quickly. They reproduce rapidly and can live in many different environments, making it hard to control their numbers. Eurasian carp cause a lot of damage to ecosystems. They feed by digging up the bottom of lakes and rivers, which stirs up mud and makes the water cloudy. This cloudiness blocks sunlight, harming plants that need light to grow. These plants are important because they provide food and shelter for other animals. The muddy water and lack of plants also disrupt native fish species. The carp compete with them for food and space, leading to a decline in native fish populations. The American bullfrog is originally from eastern North America, but has been brought to many other places around the world. People often moved them for farming, pets, or to hunt for fun. They've become a problem in new places because they're good at living in different environments and eating a lot. Bullfrogs eat insects, fish, and even other frogs and small animals. This makes them compete with and harm local animals that live there naturally. Their big size and how much they eat can mess up the balance of the places they invade. They can take over ponds and lakes, making it hard for other frogs and animals to survive. In 1997, the National Wildlife Institute and the University of Turin devised a plan to eradicate grey squirrels in Italy to protect local species from these invasive creatures. However, animal rights activists opposed the project, leading to legal battles that suspended the eradication efforts. By the time scientists won the case in 2000, the grey squirrel population had expanded significantly, making eradication impractical. These squirrels, introduced from North America 140 years ago, have since colonized large parts of the UK and are threatening the native red squirrel population with extinction. The grey squirrel's adaptability, rapid reproduction, and the squirrel pox virus they carry have exacerbated the problem, posing a serious threat to biodiversity and local ecosystems in Europe. You can't just feed the animals. You can't just interfere with efforts to control invasive species. If you're driven by emotions, you'll probably do more harm than good. So it is better to let the professionals do their jobs, so natural order stays in check. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We see you in the next video.